Hi there. In this video, we'll take a look at currency pairs. Let's take a closer look at what we will cover. We'll do a short introduction to currency pairs, and then look at the order that currency pairs are ranked in. We'll also look at the major currency pairs, the cross-currency pairs, and finally, we'll take a look at currency quotes. So let's get started. What makes a currency pair? When trading forex, we're going to be trading these pairs. So it's important to know how they're made up and how it all works. Currency pairs are paired up and then compared. On the chart on the screen, you can see a 1-hour Euro-USD chart. The Euro currency is paired up with the US dollar currency. The first currency in the currency pair is known as the base currency. The second currency is known as the quote currency. In this example, we're looking at the Euro-US dollar. We've taken the Euro and we're going to compare it to the US dollar. Based on the order of the currency pairs, which we will discuss just now, the Euro has a higher prominence and features ahead of the US dollar. That makes the Euro the base currency. The US dollar is then the quote currency. As we look at our charts, we will notice that charts go up and they go down. At least the candles being formed on them start moving up higher and then start moving lower. As in our previous example on the Euro-USD, when the base currency strengthens, that is, when the Euro-USD strengthens, you'll notice that the candles on the chart start moving upwards or start forming higher and higher. On the other hand, when the base currency weakens, in our example, the Euro-USD, the chart will go down. And you can see that as this currency weakens, the candles start forming lower and lower and lower on the price chart. Now, it's important to remember that this is a comparison between one currency and another. If the base currency strengthens, the price will go up. If the quote currency strengthens, the price will go down. Now, as you learn more about different currency pairs and start to trade the different currency pairs, you'll notice that there is a prominent order of currency pairs. They are arranged in a certain way that cannot be changed. On the screen at the moment, you can see the 8 commonly traded currencies in their order of prominence. These go from the strongest at the top to the weakest. And from this list, we'll use this information to build our currency pairs. So at the top of the list, we have the Euro, followed by the Great Britain pound, and then the Australian dollar. Next, we have the New Zealand dollar, the United States dollar, the Canadian dollar, the Swiss franc, and finally, the Japanese yen. When you take two currencies and put them together to form a currency pair, the base currency is determined by the one that's higher on the list. The quote currency will be the one that's lower on the list. So for example, you're pairing the Great Britain pound with the US dollar. The currency pair will be the GBP USD. The GBP will be the base currency and the USD will be the quote currency because the GBP appears in second position on the list and the USD appears in fifth position. Let's look at another example. If you were to trade the Euro JPY, you'd be putting together the Euro pair with the Japanese yen. So the Euro would be the base pair or the base currency and the yen would be the quote currency. Let's look at another example. Let's assume that we wanted to join the Canadian dollar with the Australian dollar. In this case, the currency pair would be the AUD-CAD. The reason for this is because the Australian dollar features higher up on the list than the Canadian dollar. So when we pair them together, the currency that's higher up on the list becomes the base currency and the currency that's lower on the list becomes the quote currency. So the Japanese yen is at the bottom of the list, so no matter which currency it's paired with, it's always going to be the quote currency. On the other hand, the euro is at the top of the list, so every currency it's going to be paired with, it's always going to be the base currency. So let's move on and look at the major currency pairs. The currency pairs that are paired with the US dollar, these are known as the major currency pairs. It doesn't matter if the US dollar is the base currency or the quote currency. As long as the US dollar appears in the currency pair, it is considered a major currency pair. So let's just take a look at these pairs. You've got the Euro USD, the GBP USD, Aussie dollar US dollar, NZD USD, the USD CAD, USD Swiss franc, and the USD yen. Now, some of these currencies also have some odd names. The Euro USD is known as the Euro dollar. The GBP USD is known as the pound dollar. The AUD USD is known as the Aussie dollar. The NZD, or New Zealand dollar, and the US dollar is known as the Kiwi dollar. The US dollar and the Canadian dollar is known as the dollar loonie. The US dollar and the Swiss franc is known as the dollar Swissy. And the US dollar and the yen, well, they just call it the dollar yen. Let's take a look at some of the cross-currency pairs. Over here you can see a list of the popular currencies that are not paired with the US dollar. These are considered cross-currency pairs. If you just run through the list here, you've got the Euro Pound, the Euro Swissy, the Euro Yen, the Pound Aussie, the Pound Yen, the Aussie Swissy, and the Kiwi Yen. These are considered cross-currency pairs because they do not feature the US dollar in any way. Now, one of the reasons these pairs are known as the cross-currency pairs is the fact that when they are compared to determine the actual value, they are converted or crossed over from, in the case of the Euro Pound, the Euro would first be converted or crossed over into US dollars, and then from US dollars converted to pounds. And that's how the value would be determined. So while these pairs do involve the US dollar at some point, it's not really represented in the currency pair name. But in order to do the calculations for these cross-currency pairs, you do need to cross over to the US dollar and then back again. That's why they call them the cross-currency pairs. So finally, let's move on and look at a currency quote. When you have a currency quote, or when you have a currency pair, you're going to get a price associated with that pair. The actual price is what 1 unit of the base currency, in this particular case the Euro USD, the base currency is the Euro. So 1 Euro will cost you 1.29652 US dollars. Another way to look at it is that 1 Euro will buy 1.29652 US dollars. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.